Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Civivi Baby Banter. This was designed by the legendary Ben Peterson. A lot of us know him as Ben Banters. He actually sent this to me, so thank you very much, Ben, for sending this in so I can take a look at it. This is absolutely available right now, and I'll make sure and link it right down in the description so you guys can check it out if you want. It is not very expensive, and spoiler alert, it's a pretty good knife. And I'm also going to invite you guys to check out Ben's website, knafs.com, knafs.com. Thanks so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. There's a link for Patreon right down below. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Okay, this is a tiny knife. A lot of you guys remember the Banter, the full-size Banter, which is also still available. Also a knife that people really, really like. Overall length of the Baby Banter is, this is a truly little knife. We have not even 5.5. It's like 5.4 inches overall. Blade length well under 2.5 inches even. We have about 2.3, 2.35 inches, and then cutting edge is actually only about 2 inches. And you know, for some people, that's just gonna be too small, right? Like to remind everybody that it's not like Ben was like, I'm gonna make a gigantic knife. Whoops. No, this was intentional. Some people like small knives, some people like big knives, medium knives. We all have different perspectives on that. For people looking for a small knife, this really is a small knife. Kind of goes without saying, right? How about some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1 and the Ontario Rat Model 2? There's some perspective. Yeah, it's a little guy. Little. You know what? We don't need to do too many. Let's do the bug out. I'm going to do some different size comparisons today. So there it is up against the bug out. Here it is up against the Spyderco Para 3. Right. How about some smaller budget knives? The Cold Steel Tough Light. Yeah. CJRB Rhea, also a popular smaller knife. And I just grabbed the Civivi that I had that was fairly small, the Civivi Elementum. How about you put it up against the regular Banter? Good idea. I don't have one. I'm sorry that I don't have one. Let's go ahead and do carry profiles. So thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. You can see here it's pretty darn thin. Quite a bit thinner than the Spyderco Para 3. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. You can see here, yeah, it's going to be pretty easy to carry. Even if you're wearing leather pants or athletic shorts. As long as you're wearing pants. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. Get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. I'm going to guess, like pretty much every other Civivi I've ever handled, it's going to be T8 across the board. Yep, all the hardware's T8 except for the pocket clip screws, which are going to be T6. Not that big of a deal. Yeah, pretty darn good there in that department. Materials. We are looking at G10, and you have there's actually quite a few different color choices. And remind you again that links down there. You can check out all the different colors: purple, green, blue, black. Some of them have different colored thumb studs. There's like ones with blue thumb studs, ones with like a bronze or a gold thumb stud. It's kind of neat, the different contrasts that are available. There's lots of different choices. You can get one that's all black as well for you shadowy ninja folks. But yeah, that's pretty cool that we have all those different options. Actually, truthfully, the black one's pretty sweet. But yeah, we do have, let's take a look. Is it? Hold on. Oh, look at this. I don't know why that magnet is just picking up everything in there. So is it, I wonder why we have that mounted like that. So in here, there's steel. It's probably just, I don't know, so that the standoffs run up against steel and not G10. You can see here the liner side has metal all the way across. This side is mostly G10. There's a little bit of a liner in here so the bearings can run. I mean, it connects with that standoff there, but it's also so the bearings can run on steel, and there's a little bit back here. So there's plenty of fortification as far as what you would need for a little knife like this. And the steel is in all the right places, so that's good. The blade stock thickness on this guy, not going to be a real thick knife. Probably don't really even need to do this, but I'm going to for people who really want to know. I'm coming in at 80, it's probably 85 thousandths. So yeah, weight. Bet it doesn't weigh very much. I'm going to guess this weighs 1.75 ounces. That's my guess. Okay, I was a little off. 2 ounces. It's still, the ratios on it are really good. So I think that's going to make a lot of people happy. I think we've done everything. Let's go ahead and jump into the main part of the review here. So I'm very particular about little knives. I don't care if I don't normally, like, even no matter what I'm doing, right? I got this weird thing. If a lot of you guys know, like, Ben has his own rules about knives that he'll carry. I think the idea is that it has to be, the blade has to be the same length or shorter than his index finger, or very, very close. Now, he must have a long index finger because I'm thinking about the Banter, because I think the original Banter is what he designed that idea, like he took that idea and designed a knife around it. So I bet Ben's index finger is a little bit longer than mine, which makes sense because he's like, what is he, 7.5 feet tall? I don't know why I think that. But yeah, so, I mean, just like that, I have my own rules about knives that I will carry. I don't like to carry little knives, and it's not just because I'm like, oh, it's not manly enough for me. No, it's because I don't like getting a 3-finger or less grip on a knife. Even if, like, how often am I really going to be holding a little knife like this? But that's still my personal rule. You know, I got some knives that I'll carry, even though they don't, you know, it's not a full 4-finger grip. But usually it's like, nah, if I can't get a good grip on it, I'm not going to. This knife, you can. A lot of people are going to point out right away, well, you know, it's because it has this massive forward choil, right? And some people are going to say, it's not called a forward choil, it's just called a choil. A forward choil is not a thing. I'm making it a thing. If it wasn't a thing before, I have decided just now, right? If this actually wasn't a thing before, which I have no idea, right? But by the law of how things just seem to be working right now, forward choil is officially a term that you can use. So, deal with it. Anyways, you're going to say, well, it's got this forward choil here, and what happens is the overall blade to handle ratio is way off. Okay, yeah, we have knives that that is the case, for sure. That doesn't really bother me. It does bother some people. You know, at this size of knife, I'm thinking, truthfully for me, and a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people, this is all the more blade that most of us really need day to day. If you work outdoors, you probably need more blade than this. You work in an office, right? Or you work at home, or you're just kind of, you know, you consider yourself the average dude, right? The average everyday carry dude. You're going to be just fine with this amount of blade length. And if you need to, you can choke up on it like this. If you need to do it, most of the time it's not so much you're power cutting into cardboard, as I usually say, but to do little, you know, detail work, right? If you're going to do little things like that. Most of the time, you're going to get a knife out like this. That edge is really sharp. That literally just happened. But yeah, most of the time, you know, I'm going to be holding it like this or like this, and I'm going to be cutting into a package, right? You're going to be pinch holding it, which is fine. The other reason that I don't normally like little knives is because it's really, I mean, this is a tricky thing for knife designers. It's something that I probably would not be able to figure out. I'm just able to critique it. My job is much easier than knife design, right? Critiquing a design, right, and giving my expertise is much easier than actually designing a knife, right? That's the irony of it. We're just sitting back here whining like, we want this, make it this, But yeah, like getting the thumb studs in the right spot. I mean, if you think about how you hold a knife to prepare to use the thumb studs, your thumb, when you bend it backwards, has to, you know, it has to get underneath the stud. So because this is a little knife, you have it up higher in your hand. Sometimes, you know, for some people, if you have truly XL hands, you're not going to be able to get your thumb. You're going to have to readjust the knife, right? But Ben has placed the thumb studs in the right spot. So doing the reverse flick, doing the Thumb flick, you can see I actually did have to readjust there. But yeah, it's actually pretty convenient, or just opening it, right? The reverse flick, actually super convenient. The D10 is tuned very well. That's generally just thanks to Civivi's fit and finish. D10's nice and clicky. It's the appropriate strength for this size of knife. And then it's running on bearings and is nice and smooth. Truthfully, with just a little bit of encouragement, you can get it to wiggle shut. Pretty happy with that. And, you know, all the way around, honestly, because the pocket clip is pretty short, it's still like more than half the length of the handle. And I do notice it a bit, right? But I'm thinking, am I really going to be like power cutting through ultra thick cardboard? No, I'm not. So, I don't know. You know, I kind of wish the pocket clip was a little bit shorter. I think it's probably about the same length as the clip on the other Banter, but the clip is really, really good. And the corners are nicely knocked down. There's not sharp corners or sharp edges on any part of this knife, right? It's pretty darn comfortable to hold. Also, the edge, as I demonstrated with my dead skin there, is very, I mean, like the paper cut, I'm just trying to demonstrate exactly how effortless it is. Let's even go all the way across, probably diagonal. Oh, I got it caught in the forward choil. Yeah, the edge is super, super duper sharp, unless you get it caught in the choil, which is, you know, truthfully, that's the drawback of having a finger choil, a sharpening choil, right? This is done pretty well. Most of the time, that's not going to be the case. My point was there is that the edge is extremely thin, and it is pretty effortless to get it to slice through material, right? The blade is a, we're going to call this drop point. Not a super aggressive pointy tip, but it will still puncture, dig into packages, which is, for the most part, what it's going to be used for. I'm sorry, I resisted a joke there. I'm trying to get better about poking fun at certain corners of the knife community. I guess I'll just keep that one for myself. But yeah, the tip will still function pretty well as a tip for normal, you know, EDC stuff. There's a flat that runs out about 85% the length of the blade. This isn't a blade that I would, you know, I'm not going to talk too much about durability, right? There's plenty of room for it to drop down towards the cutting edge, and the cutting edge is ridiculously laser thin, so it's going to slice. Jimping is in the right place, right? You want a nice complementary jimping zone for your thumb in relationship to your index finger if you're going to put it in the choil, so that works. It's a complicated way of saying when you put your fingers right here, it feels pretty good. The liner lock right here, you can see this has all been cut out so that you can easily engage the liner lock from the side, which is great, because if that wasn't the case, you'd have a teeny, weeny, teeny, peeny, little tiny zone to get your finger in there and move the lock bar out of the way. So that's nice. Little quality of life things, it's all been taken into consideration because Ben is a knife guy, right? Ben is the type of person who meticulously goes over these tiny little details and gets frustrated with, you know, in my opinion, a lot of other really dumb design things. And he's made sure that they are not a part of his knife, that all of the obvious stuff is here. And that's great. There's a slot that's milled. I like this. There's a slot that's milled out on this side so that you can, you know, when the clip is mounted on top of G10 or micarta or whatever the scale material is, and you've got vertically positioned screws like this, there's a potential after a while for the thing to wiggle. When there's a slot milled in the G10 for the clip to rest, and then it's screwed down, it ain't gonna wiggle. Oh no, but you have to see a slot on this. I don't care. That's truthfully my thoughts on that. I just don't care. This isn't that much of an eyesore that it bothers me, and I think that's great. Left-handed people, I've always said this. Yeah, it's a right-handed liner lock, but truthfully, I'm right-handed, and you can see here I can easily reverse flick this thing and disengage the liner lock. It's pretty simple, right? So it's nice that there's a, you know, a sound mounting position. A fortified mounting position for the... Fortified mounting position! What am I saying? Oh my God. Knife review, come on! Come on, Metal Complex, let's go. Pay attention. Pocket clip, like I said, love the design. It's essentially a perfect pocket clip. I think it needs to be a little shorter for I think we need a bug out length of clip for the Baby Banter. I think that would have been better. But the clip design itself is very, very good. And you're really only going to notice it if you are squeezing this thing with the might of 1,000 orcs under the hot sun without gloves. So, you know, for the most part, when you're opening this up and just making simple cuts, it's not like you're going to be like, oh, the pocket clip. No, it's only if you're going to be gripping it like that, which is truthfully not super often with this knife. This side, much the same as the front. Is that where yeah, that's the same spot. Much the same as the front, except the adjustment head is on this side. That's fine. We have, there's your engagement there. It's probably 50, 60%. No lock stick, no lock rock, no blade play. Let's try it again. Left, right, up, down. Nope. No lock stick, no pivot lash, and no detent lash. How's the centering? Yeah, we're perfect. So, you guys know I give away a lot of stuff on this channel. I am so particular. Follow me. Follow me on Instagram, @metal_complex. I'm so particular about my little knives. I have no idea why I brought that out early, but there it is. I'm so particular about my little knives, and why? It's because my little knives are my travel knives, right? I like to carry these smaller ones just depending on where I'm going. I want to make sure that if I'm carrying a pocket knife, I'm not carrying a knife that's not, as I cross state lines, is not an illegal item. So I just am like, I'm just going to carry the smallest knife that I can, that I enjoy. And because really it's an item of convenience, right? That's all it is to me. Normally when I get knives like this, you guys know I do giveaways on live streams. If you didn't know that, I do giveaways like all the time. So if you want free stuff and that's all you're here for, then subscribe by all means. Yeah, normally I give stuff like this away because otherwise I would have a massive pile of knives that were given to me by retailers and designers and manufacturers. But it's better, normally I give things back to you guys. This time I'm gonna be selfish. I'm actually gonna keep this. This is essentially a perfect sort of light use around the house knife, and it's also, for me, an ideal travel knife. My wife and I like to travel 3 or 4 times a year, and this is exactly the type of knife that I will, that I would want to take with me. I probably will do that. This is actually going to stay in my collection. Also, there's a little bit of, there's some extra sentimental value because Ben sent this, right? Fangirling again. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And I'm sure a lot of people say, well, of course he's going to say nice things about it because Ben gave it to him. I've had knives given to me for free, from all over the place that, I've had knives given to me that are, 20 times more expensive than this, or more in some cases. And it doesn't stop me from doing a negative review if I really feel like, there are design flaws. This, as far as what it was meant to be, which is a small, inexpensive, convenient, reliable tool, it's exactly that. That's exactly what it is, right? It's like, sometimes I use a different set of tools to judge certain knives, but one tool that I always use, across all reviews is what this is trying to be. Is it? Did it become the thing it wanted to be when it was a little? It's funny because this is the Baby Banter. It didn't really ever grow up. But did it become the thing that it was intended to be? And in this case, it is exactly that. The only thing that I really can, it's like, I wish the pocket clip was a bit shorter, but gosh, I just can't complain. Did I say what the blade steel was? It's Nitro V, which I'm perfectly happy with considering this knife is $60. I'm also not mad about that. Even before we saw price hikes on everything, right? People like to pretend it's just Spyderco, or it's just Benchmade, or it's just it's everybody, guys. It's everybody. Even before that happened, I wouldn't have been too bent out of shape about it. Bent out of shape, not bent out of shape. Bent out of shape. I don't have a problem with that. This is an extremely recommendable knife. I really like it. This is going to go in my recommended knives playlist. It's also going to go in my cheap knives I like playlist. Yeah, check those out. Thanks again to Ben. Make sure you guys check out his website, nafs.com. That's KNAFS.com. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.